Señor, por favor, prende tu micrófono y tu cámara para poder empezar.
Ok.
Good afternoon. This is call number 2021-48996 in the interest of Daniel and David Blanco.
Buenas tardes, este es el caso 2021-48996 en el interés de Daniel y David Blanco.
All parties and witnesses, please raise your right hands to be sworn.
Por favor, levanten la mano derecha para ser jurado.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
¿Usted jura decir la verdad, toda la verdad delante de Dios?
Sí.
Yes.
All right, please state your name and your relationship to these children.
¿Puede bajar la mano? Por favor, diga su nombre y la relación, el nombre de usted y la relación de usted a los niños.
Mi nombre es Itzel Estrada y soy mamá de los niños.
My name is Itzel Estrada and I am the mother of the children.
And representing the state of Texas,
Luis Regla.
Y representando el estado de Texas, Luis Regla.
court will note that the non-custodial parent is Heriberto Martinez Blanco.
La corte nota que el papá sin custodia es el señor Heriberto Martínez Blanco.
He is not.
No sé.
¿Sí?
Sí. Oh, su primer apellido es Blanco. No sé si es igual Martínez o Blanco.
His first
Okay.
last name is Blanco. I don't know if it's the same Martínez Blanco.
All right. The court will note that he was served under Rule 106.
La corte nota que él fue dado los papeles de servicio sobre la regla 106
At 11411 Green Plaza Drive, apartment 3707,
en la dirección 11411 Green Plaza Drive, apartamento 3707
in Houston, Harris County, Texas.
en Houston, la ciudad de Houston, en el condado de Harris, Texas.
And that was on November 19th, 2021 at 11:50 a.m.
Y la fecha fue noviembre 19, 2021 a las 11:50 de la mañana.
He has not filed an answer or made an appearance. Is that correct, Mr. Regla?
Y él no ha hecho una respuesta o no ha aparecido, señor Regla.
That's
No.
correct. That's correct, Judge.
Eso es correcto, su señoría.
All right, let's proceed. We'll
Vamos
proceed
a
by
proceder
default.
sin el papá aquí.
Thank you, Judge. I'll call the mother as a witness.
Llamamos a la mamá de testigo.
Ma'am, when Daniel was born, did you remember signing some paperwork with the father where both of you admitted he is the biological father of Daniel?
Cuando nació el niño Daniel, ¿usted se acuerda firmar unos documentos indicando con el papá que él es el papá del niño Daniel?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay, we don't have that for David at this time. Is that correct?
Y no tenemos ese documento firmado para el niño David, ¿es correcto?
Correcto.
Correct.
You have never been married.
¿Usted nunca ha sido casada?
No, nunca.
No, never.
And you've never alleged anyone else could possibly be the father of David.
¿Y usted nunca asumió que alguien más podía ser el papá del niño David?
No.
No.
And in fact, Mr. Heriberto Blanco is the true biological father of David. Is that correct?
Y es cierto que el señor Heriberto Blanco es el verdadero papá del niño David, ¿es correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
You and the children and the father used to live together until you separated July 17 of 2020. Is that correct?
Usted, los niños y el papá vivían juntos hasta que se separaron hasta la fecha julio 17, 2020, ¿es correcto?
Sí, correcto.
Yes, correct.
During the time y'all lived together, the father in this case was physically abusive with you. He would put his hands on you, push you, pull your hair, threaten to burn you, and continues to threaten you. Is that correct?
Cuando vivían juntos, el papá en este caso la abusaba a usted físicamente, poniéndole las manos encima de usted, estirándose su pelo y amenazándola, quemándola. ¿Es correcto?
Sí, correcto.
Yes, correct.
He did this also in front of your two boys. Is that correct?
Él hizo esto, lo que acabamos de mencionar, en frente de sus dos niños. ¿Es correcto?
Sí, sí.
Yes.
And your oldest still remembers seeing this man do all those things to you.
Y el niño mayor todavía se acuerda que este señor hizo esto, todas estas cosas a usted.
Sí, sí se acuerda.
Yes, he still remembers.
Since y'all have separated, you've been making decisions on how to raise your boys without the father's help. Is that correct?
Y desde que se separaron ustedes, ¿usted ha estado haciendo todas las decisiones de los niños?
Sí,
Yes.
He has basically not helped you at all since y'all separated with your two boys.
Él no la ha ayudado totalmente desde que ustedes se separaron. ¿Es correcto?
no me ha ayudado nada.
No, he has not helped anything.
We're requesting that going forward, the court appoint you as a sole managing conservator of your two boys. Is that correct?
De hoy para adelante estamos pidiendo a la corte que usted le otorgan que sea la conservadora gerente solamente de los niños.
Sí,
Yes.
And that going forward, if the father is going to see the children, that we use a modified schedule of visits. Is that correct?
Y si el papá va a ver los niños, que la corte ordene unas visitaciones modificadas. ¿Es correcto?
sí,
Yes.
And so that would be 13 supervised visits at the Chick-fil-A on 1960 from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m.
Y eso serían 13 visitaciones supervisadas en el restaurante Chick-fil-A que está en el 1960 de 1 a 5. ¿Es correcto?
correcto.
Correct.
And if by some miracle he actually shows up and does any visits and does his 13 visits supervised, then he can have 13 unsupervised 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., 13 all-day visits, and then 13 overnights before the standard schedule of visits. Is that correct?
Y si en dado caso que él haga todas las visitaciones, las 13 supervisadas, que después de eso él pueda tener 13 visitaciones de 1 a 5 sin supervisión, 13 visitaciones sin supervisión de 8 a 5 y 13 visitaciones de sábado en las 6 a domingo a las 6 y luego las visitaciones estándar. ¿Es correcto?
Correcto.
Correct.
And are you requesting that the court order the pickup and drop off be at that same neutral place of the Chick-fil-A on 1960?
Y usted también está pidiendo a la corte que ordene que el lugar donde él recoja a los niños sea en un lugar, en la misma localización del restaurante Chick-fil-A, que un lugar neutral en el futuro.
Sí,
Yes.
And based on the abuse, the harassment, and the threats that have happened in the past, are you asking the court to keep your address and phone number confidential from Mr. Blanco?
Y basado en el abuso en el pasado y amenazas, usted está pidiendo a la corte que su dirección y teléfono, información sea confidencial.
sí.
Yes.
We don't have proof of what kind of money the father makes right now. Is that correct?
No tenemos prueba de qué tanto gana el señor, ¿es correcto?
No tenemos pruebas.
No, we don't have proof.
He has child support orders for 2 other children. Is that correct?
Él tiene órdenes de mantención por 2 otros niños, ¿es correcto?
Correcto.
Yes, correct.
Your 2 sons, in this case, have Medicaid. Is that right?
Y los 2 niños de usted tienen el seguranza del Medicaid, ¿es correcto?
Correcto.
Correct.
So would you agree with the state that the court should order Mr. Blanco to pay $57 a month for the Medicaid beginning July 1st, 2022?
¿Y usted está de acuerdo con el Estado que ordenen al papá del caso, que pague $57 al mes para la aseguranza empezando el 1 de julio de 2022 y cada mes en adelante?
Sí,
Yes.
And that the child support against this man should be based on 20.62%, which is a guideline child support for your two sons.
Y que la mensualidad de manutención que ordenen al papá a sus dos niños sea el 20.62% de los ingresos de él, que es basado a la ley de Texas.
sí,
Yes.
And therefore, the child support would be $209 beginning July 1st, 2022.
Y la cantidad mensual de manutención para los niños serían 209 por mes, empezando el 1 de julio y cada mes en adelante.
sí,
Yes.
And going back to the date of separation, July 2020 through today's court date, all based on minimum wage for these two children, the father should be ordered to pay you $5,304 in back child support.
Y basado en la fecha que se separaron, julio 2020 a la fecha de hoy, el papá debe que ser ordenado a pagar manutención retroactiva de $5,304 de la fecha de hoy, ¿es correcto?
sí,
Yes.
And the court should order him to pay you $77 a month beginning July 1st, 2022, to pay back that balance of $5,304.
Y que ordenen al señor pagar $77 por mes, empezando el 1 de julio 2022 para pagar lo atrasado, ¿es correcto?
sí,
And
Yes.
do you believe these court orders are in the best interest of your sons?
¿Usted piensa que estos órdenes que acabamos de mencionar es en el mejor interés de sus niños?
sí,
Yes.
And are you requesting the court to grant this order against Mr. Blanco?
¿Usted está pidiendo a la corte que apruebe esta orden sobre el señor Blanco?
sí.
Yes.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Paso testigo a este momento.
All right, the court will approve the order submitted. Thank you.
La corte aprueba esta orden como la sometieron. Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Right, thank you, Judge.
Okay.
And that's es todo, señora. Ya puede desconectar. Que tenga buen día.
Ok, muchas gracias.
Adiós.
Gracias. Thank you,
Bye.
Your Honor.
Thanks, Arnold.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, good afternoon. Hi, he'll call you.
All right, this is cause number 2020-46467 in the interest of Anastasia Rose Ryan. All parties and witnesses, please raise your right hands to be sworn. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
All right, ma'am, please state your name and your relationship to the child.
My name is Erica Nicole Kesterson, and I am Anna's aunt,
Maternal or paternal?
paternal.
The father's sister?
Yes.
Code will note that the, when representing the state of Texas,
Andrea Eoff.
court will note that the non-custodial parent father is Cody Glenn Ryan. He is not present. He was personally served on December 3rd, 2021 at 10:05 a.m. at 3602 CR 45 in Angleton, Texas. And he's not filed an answer or made an appearance. Is that correct, Ms. Eoff?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Court will further note that the mother, Vanessa Charlene Curry, is also not present. She was personally served on November 11th, 2021 at 6:33 a.m. And she also has not filed an answer or made an appearance. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. We'll proceed by default.
Thank you. Your Honor, I would like to call Erica Kesterson.
All right.
All right. Ms. Kesterson, will you please state your full name for the record?
Erica Nicole Kesterson.
And Mr. Ryan and Ms. Curry are aware that you currently have custody of Anna. Is that correct?
Yes.
And can you state Anna's full name and age?
Anastasia Rose Ryan,
Mm-hmm.
and she is 3.5 years old.
And how did she come to be in your possession?
Well, she was born with drugs in her system. CPS was at the hospital, and then they placed her with me.
All right. And your brother, Mr. Ryan, signed an acknowledgement of paternity at the hospital. Is that correct?
Yes,
And he has never contested the fact that he is Anna's father. Is that correct?
that is correct.
And are you asking the court to legally establish him based on that AOP as Anna's father?
Yes.
And in the time that you have had Anna in your custody, which is essentially from birth, have Mr. Ryan and Ms. Curry given you any money to help support her?
They have given me nothing. I asked them one time, when she was very young, if they could just bring some bibs over, and they couldn't even do that. I have received absolutely nothing from them ever.
And is it true that Mr. Ryan and Ms. Curry both struggle with drug addiction?
Yes.
And can you explain to the court how their drug addiction would make their interaction with Anna not in Anna's best interest?
I mean, I think anybody with drug addiction, that would provide very poor parenting. They right now they're homeless. They don't have a place to live. They don't have a car. It just seems like drugs come number one with them. They have 4 children right now. 3 of them were born with drugs in their system. It's just a bad situation.
Have they ever made any attempts to help co-parent with you or help you make any sort of decisions or, take care of Anna in any way?
Absolutely not.
So you've been parenting all by yourself this whole time. Is that correct?
Correct.
And do you believe that if they were to have unsupervised access to Anna at any point in time, she would be in danger?
Yes.
And why is that?
I believe their criminal history, the people that they hang out with, their drug abuse, the fact that my brother definitely had an assault charge against Vanessa where he cut her leg, and I just always think about that. What if Anna was there? What if she was there when that happened and witnessed that? Luckily none of the kids were there. So.
And to your knowledge, Mr. Ryan and Ms. Curry both have a history of criminal charges for drug possession, DWI, and for other kind of assault and theft crimes?
Yes.
All right. And to your knowledge, have Mr. Ryan and Ms. Curry served time in jail for any of this?
Yes.
All right. And is it true that Mr. Ryan has served approximately 1 month in jail since Anastasia was born?
Yes,
And Curry has served about 6 months, but in 2 3-month stints. Is that correct?
yes,
But despite all of this, you are still in contact with them. Is that right?
yes, that is correct.
And whenever they are not incarcerated, they are currently working. Is that correct?
For the most part, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Vanessa's working. My brother, not as much as her.
Okay. So based on their lack of involvement with Anna and their history of drug use and crime and the fact that they're generally a danger to her, are you asking that the court appoint you as her sole managing conservator?
Yes,
And are you asking that the court designate you as the conservator who designates her primary residence without regard to geographic restriction?
yes,
And are you asking the court to give them essentially a modified visitation order?
yes,
And are you asking the court to order that they be allowed to visit with her from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. on the first, third, and fifth Saturdays of each month, provided that they give you written notice?
correct. Yes,
And are you asking that that written notice be 5 days prior to a visit via text message at 832-499-9341 or email at ekesterson@yahoo.com?
yes,
And are you asking that those visits be supervised by you or a competent adult designated by you?
yes,
And are you asking that they be ordered to abstain from the consumption of alcohol or controlled substances 12 hours before or during their visits with Anna?
yes,
All right. Do you believe that these terms of conservatorship and visitation would be in Anna's best interest?
absolutely. Yes,
Okay. Now, when it comes to working, they both work in the food service industry. Is that correct?
correct.
And Mr. Ryan is a server at various restaurants. Is that correct?
Yes,
And are you asking the court to calculate child support based on minimum wage with a gross monthly wages of $1,256.67 for him?
yes,
And you mentioned that he has 4 other children, but he only has 1 support order for one of those children. Is that correct?
he has 3 other children.
Yes,
actually.
she's the 4th. So he has
Right.
3 other children, but there's only 1 support order for a child.
Correct. Yes,
And that support order only orders child support, but not medical support. Is that correct?
yes,
Okay. And then are you asking the court to order Mr. Ryan to pay child support in the amount of $185 a month beginning July 1st?
yes,
And are you asking the court to order him to pay you for half of the private health insurance premiums you will pay in the amount of $76 a month beginning July 1st?
yes,
And are you asking him to pay for half of your private dental insurance premiums for her in the amount of $12 a month?
yes,
All right. And you will be providing medical and dental insurance for Anna through your employment, correct?
correct. Yes,
And that will cost you a total of $152 a month for health insurance and $12 a month for dental?
yes,
Okay, perfect. Now, Miss Curry, she works in the management side of the restaurant industry, correct?
correct.
And her gross monthly wages are $1,615.59. Is that right?
The best of my knowledge, yes,
And she only has a child support order in place for one of her other children. Is that true?
yes,
And are you asking the court to order her to pay child support in the amount of $236 a month beginning July 1st?
yes,
And are you asking the court to order her to pay the other half of the health insurance premiums in the amount of $76 of cash medical support each month?
yes,
And are you asking the court to order her to pay $12 in cash medical for the dental premiums each month?
yes,
And all of that is to start July 1st, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's talk for a minute about the retroactive support. You mentioned that they have never given you anything to help out with Anna.
Nothing.
Okay. And in the time since Anna was born, we know that Mr. Ryan had 1 month of incarceration, correct?
Correct.
And Miss Curry had 6 months of incarceration. Is that correct?
Correct.
And did we, when we worked together to calculate the amount of retroactive support that they need to pay, did we take those periods of incarceration into account?
Yes.
And after we did those calculations, are you asking the court to issue a judgment for retroactive support in the amount of $7,800 against Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
And are you asking that that be paid at $89 a month beginning July 1st?
Yes, that is correct.
And are you asking the court to order a retroactive against Miss Curry in the amount of $8,568?
Yes.
And are you asking that that be paid at $93 a month beginning July 1st?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. And are you aware that Miss Curry has requested that her address and phone number be kept confidential?
Yes.
And are you aware that she has asked for a finding of non-disclosure because she believes that if that information is published in the order, she might be at risk of abuse or harassment from someone who's not a party to this case?
Yes.
And do you object to the court making that finding of non-disclosure and keeping her information confidential?
No.
Okay. So if the court were to enter an order that contained all of the support terms and conservatorship and visitation terms and the retroactive judgment information, do you feel that would be in Anna's best?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And are you asking the court to enter an order to that effect today?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. I pass the witness, Your Honor.